Greetings, everybody. um,
Hey, why y'all out here trying to make some shit work that's supposed to?
I just got back in the house, so just give me a second. I'm trying to pull up my other stuff too. Maybe that'll work. My TikTok is not wanting to work.
We talk about how the new amazing.
I don't think that's it. Maybe, I don't know. My TikTok is acting up. I don't know what the hell for, but let's see. Do I have anything else open? I don't look like it. Nope. So I don't know what's going on with it. May not even be able to do anything with it today. Greetings, everybody. My name is Cassandra-Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. And I'll be honest, I'm in a mood today. I'm in a way today. And I've been fighting since I got up this morning to try to shake it. But I don't know. I don't know. I really felt better yesterday after the live that I did. And my intention was to do a live this morning, but I've been in a way all day and didn't really know why and couldn't really articulate for myself, where it was coming from, why it was what it was, and why I felt, I don't know, this feel right now, this pressure in my chest. It's just had me feeling really fucked up today, and it wasn't until maybe wasn't until I don't know, maybe 5 o'clock that I because my commitment to myself has been that I was going to spend less time on social media and shit. And so I didn't really get on social media until later in the day and get on social media to find out that on the goddamn full moon, the first full moon of the year, that this son of a bitch, Donald J. Trump, has just when you didn't think that these motherfuckers couldn't deepen the crisis and make a bad situation worse, they wage war on a democratic country. And so I'm gonna rant. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna rant. I'm gonna just say that I'm gonna reiterate, and then I gotta reassess my own goddamn life, because I gotta reassess my own goddamn life. I'm gonna say what I have to say, and then I have to reassess everything. I felt really good after I got off the live yesterday. I did. And I woke up at about 6 o'clock this morning, just feeling like there was an elephant sitting on my chest. And I just assumed that the elephant on my chest was, the urgency of my own personal life. I have some pretty serious and pressing issues in my own life. And so I woke up this morning like early, like 6 o'clock, with this pressure on my chest, literally feeling like somebody was pushing down on me. And I got up and I was like, okay, the reason I'm up is because I have to figure out, I have to call miracles into my own goddamn life. And so I got up and called myself going to be progressive and get some things done, so that when Monday comes around and I have to face this shit I have to face, that I would still be well rested, but I would still have a level of ease and clarity in my own home. So I got up this morning and started cleaning, organizing. But I just like now, man, there is like my breathing is labored. My blood feels like battery acid. I don't know if you've ever had that feeling. The only time I've ever had this feeling is when I've gotten in a fight, like an actual, like fist fight. Like your adrenaline is like pumping so hard when you in a fight with somebody, like like when you kids and you all in. I don't know if you remember that feeling. And I've only been in one fight as an adult, like a straight up scrap as an adult. But I remember as a kid, me and my sister used to fight like grown men, and it would take hours for my blood to literally not feel like it was battery acid just pumping through my veins, right? That's what I feel like. I've been feeling like that all day, but I really thought it was just, the nervousness about my own personal life and these things that I have to take care of very quickly coming up. And, just, just shit, just regular ass shit. You know what I'm saying? But the shit can be pressing. You feel me? And so all day I was like doing all kinds of stuff, running up and down the stairs to try to get the blood pumping, walking in the rain to try to get the blood pumping. Like, yeah, if I just be busy, you feel me? Like this shit will subside, this feeling in my body. And so I had the music playing and, I was just trying to focus and organize. And then I finally got online and opened up my IG, and it was just to follow up on something. Somebody had sent me a pretty important message yesterday. I was like, okay, well, let me open up my IG. I know that those of you who follow me on my IG have probably been like, where the fuck this woman at? Because I'm usually always on my IG, like, posting stuff and sharing stuff or whatever. And I haven't been up on there like that. And so when I opened my IG just to check a single message, I saw that my inboxes were flooded with messages that I had not answered. And then I went to my homepage of my IG. This is 5 o'clock this afternoon. So all day, I've been up since 6 o'clock. Didn't know. And I open up the homepage to my IG and see that this rabid scoundrel of a fucking creature has waged war on Venezuela, has kidnapped the democratically elected president and his wife in Venezuela. And I realized that yes, I still have this urgent pressing thing that is taking up every square inch of free space in my brain. But I realized instantly that what I was feeling in my blood were human beings. That I was feeling in my body was the fear and the rage of human beings who are going to be the recipients of this plot that this maniac has waged. And I spent so much time yesterday. I rewatched the live that I did last night. I rewatched it today. I spent so much time talking about what's happening in Iran and about how to be able to recognize when the state is attempting to sabotage a spontaneous response of human beings for being exploited, for being taken advantage of. And we've seen it over and over this last year. We saw it in Thailand. We've seen it all over. Everywhere on earth, people have been taken to the streets. And unfortunately, in the absence of a collective, unity of will, man, and that collective unity of will being able to present a clear and identifiable and tangible goal, then all people gonna do is take to the streets. That's it. That's all they can do. And everything becomes what it is they are seeking, except what it is their heart is actually yearning for. They cry out for everything in the absence of an understanding, in the absence of communication outside your country, outside your clique, outside your worldview. We stay coming to the wrong conclusions about how to finally end our collective suffering. I don't know I do not know how many ways. I don't know what it's going to take. I just don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take. I thought I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take, man. But here in the United States, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. That while we are watching an intensification unlike we have ever seen, an intensification of war and brutality, theft and brigandage, genocide, that presents itself in a million different ways. You don't get upset at genocide until it's unavoidable. This thing happening in Palestine went on for a year before now all the rock stars, all the actresses, all the important people, under the pressure of being labeled worthless pieces of shit, now got the audacity to come out in the open and say, I stand with Palestine. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. But it ain't just them that ain't shit. It ain't just billionaires that ain't shit, y'all. It ain't. It ain't just billionaires that ain't shit. There's different levels of shit. You understand? There's different presentations of shit. And all of us have been witnessing genocide ongoing for a very, very, very long time. I told a young person the other day, because I guess they got upset at a video that I did some time ago, maybe 2 years ago, when this thing in Israel first started, and the censorship around people even being able to say Palestine, people being able to say Israel. And so everybody started wearing watermelon earrings and watermelon t-shirts and watermelon whatever the fuck. And I said, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing that shit. So if it means that my page gets shadow banned, then so fucking be it. It's not just the salt and pepper. It's not just the seasoning on my language that these motherfuckers got an attitude with. And I told this young person, I said, they were like, why would you not show your support, by doing what people are able to do so that the point of the watermelon stuff is to get the word out, I said, y'all late in the game, boo. I said, the aggressions against the people of Palestine did not jump off on October 7th. Not even close. I said, I've been an outspoken, active participant in the pro-Palestinian movement since 2001, since the year I became militantly politically active, 2001. I said, and I'm not going to capitulate to infantile displays imposed on human beings to speak the truth of what we are experiencing on the planet. I'm saying this because Palestine is not the only genocide that we have witnessed ongoing for many. Hell, it was in the early 1960s when Malcolm X outwardly spoke his solidarity with the people of Palestine. It was in the early 63? When he declared out loud his solidarity with the people of Palestine. And here we the fuck are, 60 years later. What is it? Yeah. What is that? 40? Yeah, 60 years later, having to declare out loud our solidarity with the people of Palestine to no fucking avail. But that ain't the only genocide. There's a reason. There's a reason that Palestine is the way that it is, boo. Yes, it is. And settler colonialism is just the obvious answer. Listen, Palestine has an origin that is not just Zionist staging a contest to take hold of what did not belong to them. Israel, scratch that. Palestine and the circumstances confronted by the people of Palestine today have an origin that is older than 1942. Yes, it does. Palestine is one of the many apex presentations of an outright, all-out aggression against human beings that has presented as the many-faced genocidal lunatical assault on human beings for quite some times. It's too easy for us to look at Palestine. Those of you who give a fuck to look at Congo. Those of you who give a goddamn who look at Sudan. It is too easy. And this the question don't nobody want to answer. But the question that needs to be answered will also produce for us the once and all solution for what we see the face of the globe over. I'm telling you that's what it is. And so I don't know. I'm just telling you what it is. Palestine, as it presents itself today, as one of many democratic countries leveled to the fucking ground, leveled to rubble by this country, laid waste to by this country. I ain't talking about 100 years ago. I'm talking about since I've been born in 1975, since I was in high school in 1993. We have seen numerous democratic societies leveled to literal rubble by this country, always under false pretense, because it knew that the majority of the people in this country love to be lied to. They love to be lied to, so that when it is all revealed that somehow all the colored people in this country always know the truth. They ain't got to see the evidence of the truth in their spirit. They know the truth. With their own eyes and understanding, they know the truth. Because what this filthy fucking bitch is going to attempt to do is to do the same thing to these other countries that this country did to them. Colored folks. Who the colored folks? Mexicans. Who the colored folks? Natives. Who the colored folks? Black folks. And so we do not need to see. We do not need to wait for the released paperwork from the United States government that say, oops, our bad. They didn't have weapons of mass destruction, all after the fact. And the goddamn country that they done leveled to rubble has been parceled out to goddamn private contractors. Black folks ain't never need that shit for 9/11. What's his name? Most Def got on that white boy show. What's that ugly ass white boy? What's that ugly ass white boy? And he got on the show. I think he was with Cornel West. And the guy was like, well, it was just revealed, that there was a terrorist plot to bomb someplace in the United States of America. And Most Def was like, I don't believe that shit. What's that ugly ass white boy name? He said, I don't believe that shit. And the white boy was like, you don't believe there are terrorists in the world? He was like, yeah. They called, what did he say? They called the NYPD. Yeah, he did. This was in the early 2000s. This wasn't yesterday. This wasn't 10 years ago. This was in the early 2000s. He was like, and so the guy was like, he was like, you don't believe that there are people that want to kill Americans? He was like, yeah, they're called the police. He was like, and then the white boy say, that's like apples and oranges. He said, oh, is it really? Is it really though? That's what Mos Def said 20 years ago. Is it really, white boy, who don't have the experiences that the rest of us have with the police or the state or the judges or the courts or the prison system? Is it really like apple and oranges? Mos Def said, look, man, y'all can't scare me with that fucking boogeyman bullshit. He said, he said, in my hood, the last thing that I am worried about, the last possible thing that I'm worried about is somebody coming over here with a bomb to bomb the United States of America. He said, that's the last thing I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is when I get in my car, if I'm in my car in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's all that is required for a boy with a gun. For the motherfucker with the gun to feel threatened by my presence in my car unarmed, to off me and go on about his regular goddamn life. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. He said, when I go to the barbershop in my hood, that ain't the shit we talking about. That ain't the shit we talking about. So it's just interesting that the motherfuckers here who got all the education, got all the Ivy League schools, got all the access to all the libraries and all the things that would make them the smartest people, hell, in the world, on the planet, always conveniently stupid. Always conveniently stupid. Always conveniently stupid. Always just like, I didn't know. I didn't know. Why the fuck did you not know? Why me? Why my mama now? Why the brother on the block smoking a blunt, selling weed, selling nickel bags to bring food into the house? How he know? How he know? And your ass with your Ivy League education, and no, the world was the way that it was. It's not self-aware. It's not a lack of self-awareness. We let them off with too much bullshit. I'm not contradicting you. I'm just saying we call it a lack of self-awareness. It is not. It is an ignorance of convenience. So when you do some bullshit, when your allegiance, when your complicity with some bullshit happens, all you have to do is play stupid, and somehow your hands is clean. You absolved socially, culturally. I'm not like the rest of them, though. I don't believe that. I'm progressive. Fuck y'all. Because Palestine is an apex symptom of the suffering that we have suffered as people of color way longer than malignant ass white-skinned human beings plotting on Zionism. Before it was even a twinkling in the eye of some European Zionism, before it was even a twinkling in the eye, they had already perfected what they were going to do to the rest of the world on black and brown and red people right here in the goddamn United States. But y'all will witness, all of you will live in the belly of ongoing genocidal assaults on human beings right here in the goddamn United States of America, and act confused and bewildered when you see the shit somewhere else. You'll have all the unity, do all the goddamn demonstrating for every the fuck where else on earth, and look, walk by the decimated communities of black people and brown people and red people. Walk by a city that done ran 650,000 black people out of this goddamn city, meaning all the wealth that them 650,000 people were generating and had owned was stolen in the goddamn process, and we'll call it anything other than goddamn genocide. Palestine is the inevitable outcome of motherfuckers who have been able to, without challenge, commit genocide ongoing in this fucking country, and at the same time be the all the time in every space the sole victims of the cruel treatment of the whole goddamn planet. I went to this girl's house by invite. Young girl. She was Jewish. And she invited me to dinner at her house. I didn't know. She just said, I want you to come to dinner to my house to meet my friends. And I go to her house and it is a Hanukkah dinner. I was like, all right, fine. I don't know a goddamn thing about Hanukkah. Could give a fuck. But I was like, cool, sweet little girl, want me to come and come to her house for dinner. And then she tells me it's a Hanukkah dinner. And so they have to do this, whatever they little thing is. And then they got to go around the table and do some other little shit. And then they got to say a prayer. Y'all's this shit is beyond me. I sat in that house and listened to this make-believe, disgusting, outrageous, foul, and fucked up prayer that they did while my ass, they all babies, they all college kids. I think the oldest one might have been 23, maybe. They was babies. So they just doing what they do because it's their tradition. And I am my old ass self. I think I was 45, 46. And I had been mentoring this girl. And I go and they do this prayer. And in this fucking prayer, they proceed to say, to thank they God for rescuing them from the evil ass Egyptians. I said, hold the fuck up. In the middle of the prayer, hold the fuck up. Excuse me? I said, you know what? I have to leave. I didn't talk to her for a couple of weeks. I was so outraged. I was like, do y'all not even recognize the goddamn disconnect? Do you not? You invite a grown black ass woman to your fucking house for a Hanukkah celebration, and your level of disconnect is so deep that you did not even see the fucking contradiction to say this prayer that apparently is a standard prayer that your Jewish friends say behind closed doors while they big you up. We got our black friends, we got our black baby mamas and daddies, we got our little biracial black kids, and they fucking hate you. Look at, well, you know, I don't know why you black people are always doing us like this. We did so much for you blacks in the 1950s and 60s. Is this just a standard thing that they say? That literally word for word, I have heard that exact same thing with people calling on me to put my healing hands on their fucking bodies and then say to me, I don't know why all these black people taking Palestinian side. We did so much for you niggas in the 1950s and 60s. Well, let me get you to count the ways of the shit that you have done for us. Let me get a list. You blacks. Some other actress said that bullshit a month ago. You black. We did so much for you blacks. The fuck? And because everybody walking around perpetually clutching the pearls for fear of being labeled an anti-Semite. I'm not an anti-Semite. I fucking hate oppression. I don't give a goddamn who it is being disseminated by. I don't fucking care. So if that means I'm an anti-Semite, it means I'm an anti-Semite. It means I'm an anti-Muslim. It means I'm an anti-Christian. It means I'm an anti-Hindu. It means I'm an anti-Buddhist. It means I fucking hate oppression. And I don't give a goddamn who is disseminating oppression. I don't care. This shit that we are experiencing today is stupid. And the problem is we have to take responsibility for it. It's so easy. So easy for us to get the fuck out in the streets and demonstrate over some shit that we have been primed to speak as the issue. Nothing that you've been demonstrating about is the goddamn issue. And I just don't know how many ways we're going to have to say this, how I'm going to have to say this, I don't know. But Palestine, free Palestine. But also free the goddamn women of Palestine. Because even once Palestine is free, and it will be, the women of Palestine will not be if this shit is not ended once and for all. Free fucking Iran. Liberation for the people of Iran. But liberation for the goddamn women and children of Iran. Because once this shit is once for all resolved, I guarantee you that if the issue of women and children is not resolved, that motherfucker will still have fucking women walking around in goddamn burqas and shit, while motherfuckers with goddamn machine guns and shit make sure a piece of their hair don't fall out they goddamn burqa. Free the women of goddamn South Korea. Free the women of North Korea. Free the women of goddamn Japan. Free the women of goddamn China. Free the women of goddamn Africa. All over the continent. Y'all beloved Traoré, fuck him. God damn it. I'm sitting here watching video after video after video of this motherfucker speaking. And then the camera panned around the room to all the people in the goddamn government that he talking to. And it's still the same old shit. A bunch of old ass fucking men. No women, nowhere. So I don't give a goddamn how cute his little speeches are. The women, the circumstances of the women of Burkina Faso will never be transformed as long as men, especially old ass fucking men, are running the goddamn planet. This shit is fucking ridiculous. Ugh. Everywhere on earth, we do not even flinch when we see an entire room, whether it's the United Nations, whether it's some government, we do not even flinch at the fact that we don't ever see any fucking woman anywhere in the space represented and laying down the motherfucking gauntlet. Yes, yelling. Yes, screaming. Yes, I'm gonna break somebody's motherfucking knees if this shit is not resolved today. What the fuck are we doing in positions of power? What are we doing occupying office? And the conditions of the entire planet are worse than they ever have been. No matter how technologically advanced we get, no matter how much education we get, no matter how far along we get, we worse the fuck off than we were 100 years ago. We own less, we have less, and everything is the issue, but what the fucking issue is. Old white bastards running the goddamn United States of America and Europe. Old ass Negro bastards running the goddamn continent of Africa literally into the goddamn ground. Old ass Arab bastards dominating the entire Middle East, and the only victims are women and children, and then goddamn black women, always black women, that they call to these areas to work them until they die and then disappear them off the planet Earth. Old men in power is the problem. It is the forever problem. It remains the goddamn problem. And we get so goddamn, it just blows my mind that every time I see some group of people who's supposed to be the representatives of this place and this place, and they ain't never no goddamn women in the room. And the one woman, if there is one, that they get to stand and speak up, she sounds just like these old ass goddamn men. This shit is, man, it's exhausting. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. I know it don't seem like it's related to what I put in the header of this live, but it is absolutely it's in your face, directly related to the title of this live, because I just don't know, man. I just don't know how many ways I can say this. And I don't know, I'll be honest, man. I don't know I just don't know that I can do this. I'll be honest. I've been in a fucking way today. Still convinced of why I came to California, why I stayed in California, what I was called to do in California. Convinced of it. But today has been a day that has tried that conviction. I'm not gonna lie, man. Today has tried that fucking conviction. Today has tried that conviction. I saw a video today, and it was called 15 Women. 15 black women who were destroyed by white men in Hollywood. I said, oh shit. I said, why this shit come through my For You? You understand? Why this shit came through my For You? 15 black actresses who were destroyed by white men. I said, well, let me go ahead and watch this bullshit. I have it. For those of you who are tuning in via YouTube, I put the link right under in the little description box under this video. Go check out the videos that I left as references. Because the thing that I have been lamenting about for some time, it was like there was not that I needed confirmation because I'm black and female in the United States of America. I know my experience. I don't need nobody to tell me what my experience is. You understand what I'm saying? Especially a woman who presents with any level of intelligence, especially a woman who presents with any level of I don't want to say compassion, of care for humanity, but at the same time, as much as I care for humanity, I ain't taking no bullshit neither. Any woman that is black in America who presents with any level of audacity, that much audacity, and she becomes a target. And so I watched this video, it's like 17 minutes long, of the 15, and they only identified 15, but the whole time I'm watching this thing, I'm like, if we was to do a complete list of all the black women crucified in this fucking filthy bitch called Hollywood, the fucking list would be incalculable. So they pulled out 15. So anybody telling you, if you are black and female, that all you have to do is this and things will go your way, all you have to do is speak like this, all you have to do is present like this, all you have to do is make sure your hair did, all you have to do is get yourself some contacts, all you have to do is make sure that your diction is perfect and soft, so you do and don't frown your eyebrows when you speak, so you do not intimidate anybody that has the opportunity or the ability to do something for you. Trash it. Trash that shit. Because watching this video, and this video was just old, forgotten Hollywood starlets from 1920 up to about 1965. That's all. And these glamorous, glorious, beautiful, exceptional powerhouses of human beings. These gods among men. That's who they were. These gods among men. They weren't even among men. These gods walking among ants. These women. These gods walking among ants. This video, I didn't expect it. This video had me in here streaming tears. Literally weeping. I said, oh my God, what the fuck do I think I'm doing? What the hell do I think I'm doing? Who the fuck do I think I am? I'll be honest, I was up in here. Remember we were talking last night and I was like, sometimes I feel like maybe I'm suffering from delusions of grandeur and I need to fucking pump the brakes on that shit and go out here and get a regular ass job for a regular ass motherfucker. You feel me? And then I watched this video today. Yes, Dorothy Dandridge was one that we know, whose name we still know. Dorothy, did you know that one of the women chased out of Hollywood, starlet that she was, powerhouse that she was Dorothy Dandridge's mama. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That before Dorothy Dandridge was even born, her mother was a powerhouse in the motherfucking industry, reduced to a servant in every film that she played in until she contested, like, damn, I'm smarter than this. I'm bigger than this. I got some recognition. Can I get a role that has some depth? And just the audacity to ask for a role with some depth, the motherfuckers chased her ass out of Hollywood. Every single one of these 15 giants, these giants, man, all of them died poor. Oh my God, man. Several of them committed suicide. Billie Holiday died handcuffed to a fucking bed because her filthy ass, cracker ass, Jewish ass husband was beating her fucking ass every fucking goddamn day. Got her hooked on heroin. He was the one that turned her ass out. Got her hooked on heroin. And when she got sick because her kidneys were goddamn failing and went to the hospital, he called the fucking police on her while she was sick in the fucking hospital from some shit he did. He never saw a day in jail. His money never wavered. This goddamn video, I said, okay, I am clear now. I'm clear now. I am so clear. I am so clear. I am so clear. When I wasn't, I had suspicions about certain things. I was like thinking about, dwelling on. But that little 17-minute goddamn video cleared me right the fuck up. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It talked about what was her name? Ruby. What was the elder Ruby's name? Who was married to Oscar? Damn, what's wrong with my brain, man? Y'all know I'm Ruby D. Ruby D. Her life. I did not know how every single one of these giants chased the fuck out of Hollywood, reduced to doing shit like scrubbing fucking toilets, waiting tables, and what was the other thing? So many of them ended up having, but it was mostly housemaid bullshit, fucking waiting tables bullshit. Died poor. While every single one of the men that entered their life in sheer opportunism, there wasn't a single one of these women married to a single one of these men. All of them weren't married to white men. Some of the white men that destroyed their lives were producers or directors or owners of production companies. Setting their sights on them, setting their sights on the women to make sure that they could never be. I'm telling you, one of the goddamn motherfucker who was the owner of MGM said they were literally saying that once she made a name for herself, he sought her out and then chopped her off at the knees so she couldn't do no role bigger than the supporting role as somebody fucking made. I'm so clear. You think that this is unrelated, don't you? So clear. So clear. You do not see this thing that I'm talking about with these 15 women who were driven to early graves, every fucking one of them, driven to early graves. I didn't know. I did not know. I did not know Dorothy Dandridge killed herself. I did not know that. I did not know that. How I didn't know that is beyond me. But I did not know that Dorothy Dandridge killed herself. And so I'm clear. When I first got here to LA, I was like, where are all the black people at? I know why they ain't here. Because in order for mediocrity to maintain this to be maintained as the standard of excellence, you got to move excellence, perpetually move excellence out the fucking way, out the fucking frame, out the fucking space. That's why all of these giants, black ass women that you know right now today, you're like, where they at? Why they ain't acting no more? They still young. Cause this motherfucker, this rotten, filthy, scandalous, scoundrel ass motherfucker right here cannot afford for black excellence to be in the space if mediocrity is to remain the goddamn standard. We can't have all these black bitches taking up all these good goddamn roles if we don't want the light shown on our goddamn mediocrity. That's why Vivica A. Fox ain't acted in no major roles in goddamn 20 years. That's why all these brick house women that we knew and loved in the 90s just nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, you can find some old ass cracker, some old ass man, and he can act until both his feet is in the goddamn grave, and they'll act like it was a brilliant goddamn performance. They will act like it was so brilliant they can't even understand. And there's a reason. I couldn't understand it. I was like, oh, it's just white supremacy that we're looking at. It's just white nationalism that we're looking at in Hollywood. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. You understand me? It's deeper than that. It's deeper. Listen, so I'll be having a hard time listening to some of these dudes out here who be so hyper fixated on like the Illuminati takeover of hip hop, the evidence of the Illuminati in Hollywood, and the devil worship in Hollywood and shit like that. I be having a real hard time with that shit because, first of all, of who it is talking that bullshit. You understand? First of all. But second of all, because there's no summation. There's no like, okay, well, what does this mean? There's no like, a conclusion that you are drawn to for why this would even be necessary. You know what I'm saying? This ritualistic shit that we always see, but we don't have a frame of reference for it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, what's the point of talking about the Illuminati takeover of hip hop if it's not drawing you to a conclusion about, first of all, how that was able to happen? What is the origin of this thing? What is the outcome? And what would be the purpose of the quote Illuminati takeover of hip hop? Is it just about money? No, it's not. Is the quote devil worship, in all the signs, in the symbols, in the movies, in the music? Is it just cause? No, it's not. And I really kind of stayed away from that kind of language and those kind of ideas, because the other thing that I was always perpetually frustrated by is the motherfuckers usually talking that bullshit are still coming at that shit from some Judeo-Christian Islamic zealot type idea. And so that the only thing, so when they talking about the Illuminati takeover of hip hop or all the signs of deviltry in Hollywood or whatever, typically the object of their aggression is black skinned women 99.9% of the time, and the other 1.9% of the time it is some quote effeminate black man. So it's either women or effeminate black men that become the object of the aggressions of all these deep philosophical thinkers trying to uncover the signs and the symbols and the evidence of the Illuminati takeover of hip hop. You feel me? And all of this shit. So that's why these women be coming out talking about like what Beyonce say. She want to poke fun, but there's something deeper. So she said, you niggas corny with all that Illuminati mess, right? And then what's the name? Doechii just came out with a song this week doing the same thing, like trying to punk the motherfuckers who be talking that bullshit, because they can only come to a very shallow conclusion, a very superficial superficial conclusion, only surface level conclusion. All they can do is quote, see the signs and the symbols, you feel me? And this is the evidence of deviltry and witchcraft. That's as deep as they can get when they talk about this shit. They don't talk about anything other than that because they Christians or they what you call them, Muslims, and so the bottom line is the same. They hate women, and so all they looking for are the signs that justify their hatred for women. That's as deep as they can get. That's as far as they can go. See, there's witchcraft right there, and you know that black bitches is witches, so that's as deep as they can get. Anything that will justify and validate their religious hatred of women. You see what I'm saying? So that's as deep as they gon' get. That's as deep as they gon' get. You feel? Whoop, 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 whoop. You feel me? Oh shit! Damn, my bad, y'all. Okay, that's as deep as they gonna get. And I told y'all that on the winter solstice, every day, every single day since, the mother has had me stressed. She has had me laid out. She just had me laid the fuck out. And I'm like, look, man, like, I've got serious urgencies occurring in my life. I cannot afford to be out here laid out. Did I see this damn video with all these women reduced to fucking dishwashers and toilet scrubbers and bullshit? And I'm like, well, who the fuck I think I am? I ain't even half what these women was. Shit. You feel me? I feel like I'm a giant among men. Now, fuck what you heard. Now, I might not be Dorothy Dandridge, you feel me? And I might not be Ruby D, but the fuck, I'm me. And I know what I have come to this earth with. I know what I have come to this earth to do. I'm 1,000% certain of it. But I am human. I am human. And so today, man, I've been watching all these videos to talk to y'all about for the third day in a row what I have been wanting to come up on here and talk to y'all about as we transitioned into Capricorn season. I am a Capricorn moon, and all of this shit coming down on me for the last 2 weeks. I was like, I gotta tell everybody. Everybody need to know. Everybody is impacted by this. And every day I get sidetracked because something else. This video that I saw today of these black women, and then to be able to clearly understand why there are no black people in Hollywood. There are even white content creators talking about. I saw a video of this white boy the other day talking about the white. This is what the title of his video said: the whiteification of Hollywood, and don't nobody question it. The whiteification. That's what he called it. The whiteification of Hollywood. And unless you live here, you do not understand the gravity. Hollywood is currently suffering from a white hole. Not a black hole, a white hole. Sucking the goddamn life out of this city. Sucking the culture, sucking the joy, sucking the pleasure, sucking anything dynamic right the fuck up into it. I cannot roll my eyes hard enough. And I saw this video today of these 15 giants who all of whom became so destitute that the few things they were able to buy for themselves while they were in Hollywood, they had to sell off just to support their basic life until they died. I forget which woman they said it was, but she had been so ostracized by Hollywood that even in the union, she could not keep her goddamn health care. And she died of lung cancer because she could not afford to go get treatment. And the problem is that we have been so sufficiently and effectively trained to compartmentalize everything that we would see this damn 15-minute documentary on the 15 black women who white men destroyed their lives, and it would never even occur to us that these 15 women are a what you call it, are a are a separate section in a collective book that we need to be writing called The Evidence of Genocide. Section 1, the decimation and theft of wealth in Hollywood and in the music industry. This would be a chapter in this book. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. Where's my book at? I have a book. It's no longer in print, but it was produced or compiled. Damn. Well, I know I put that book over there. Let me walk around here and see if I can find this book. Where's this book at? Because I think it's over here. What is that? Damn it. How every time I want a book, it ain't where the fuck I knew it was. Anyway, goddamn it, I'll have to find that book too. But the book that I'm calling it was actually just a compilation of cases that were pulled together by what's his name? Man, my brain. What's his name, man? He was responsible for the idea of the talented 10th. What is wrong with my brain, man? It's bullshit. Somebody tell me who I'm thinking of, man. Damn. The talented 10th, y'all. The light skin. Thank you. What's his first name? Yeah, W.E.B. Du Bois. It was him and several other big, big name black political leaders at that time, and they pulled together because their position was that they needed to go to the world court to make a case for genocide in the United States. This was in the 1930s. So what I'm telling y'all is not new about how black people don't just have a case for genocide for slavery, that every single solitary day since the since the Emancipation Proclamation, black people have had plenty more cases to make a claim for genocide. And but this book, the name of the book is called, for those of you who might be interested in trying to locate a copy, the name of the book is called We Charge Genocide. It's not a reading book necessarily. I mean, it's a reading book. There's words in it, but everything that you read is literally, number one, this is the case. We interviewed the woman. This was her case. These are the details. Literally going around and compiling stories from black people all over the country. They were all scattered out doing that shit. Just recording the cases, the details of the cases, whether it was lynching, whether it was false imprisonment, whether it was death by convict leasing, didn't matter. They were just going around and compiling this massive amount of information that basically was like interviews of people who their case could be presented as one of many cases that would demonstrate to the world that the experience that we're having in the United States as black people is not just white people don't like black folks, but that the entire system is a structure that perpetually sustains ongoing genocide. Remember about a month ago, I did that whole uh, um, video talking about how I had never even heard of the term democide. And there was this guy, democide, DEMOCIDE, democide. And the way I got to it was I was researching the Holocaust. And in researching the Holocaust, there was a link because, in the research for the Holocaust, they talked about genocide. And then under the genocide, they were talking about the other different types of sides. And I was like, democide, because I'd heard of the other ones, femicide and fratricide and all of this and this and this. But I was like, damn, democide, I ain't never heard of that. So I click on the link and my mind was blown. Blown. Democide is still genocide, but unlike what is happening in Palestine, this apex sharp presentation of the aggressor group targeting primarily an unarmed, defenseless group for the sole purpose of stealing their shit and decimating them, wiping them off the planet. So in 100 years, just like right now today, you don't even remember that there's Native Americans here. That's the hopes for Palestine, is that in 100 years, y'all will forget that there was a Palestine, that there were Palestinian people, because that's what these lunatics are saying out their mouth. They ain't even hiding the shit. Yes, our intention is to kill every last one of them, even the babies, before the babies grow up and be terrorists and want to kill us. That's what they hoping. Just like they know that in the regular process of a day, the average American in this country is not having a single thought in passing about the indigenous inhabitants of the United States of America. Won't even cross their mind probably in a lifetime. Your ass can go a whole lifetime and never have a single thought about Native Americans, like they an extincted species and shit. That's what they hope for fucking Palestine. And so I'm going to tell you, this is the thing that we have to reconcile. That every genocide, every war taking place on the earth right now that has the United States stamp of approval or orchestration of it on it is centered in the ongoing genocidal aggressions against Black, brown, red, yellow people in particular, and poor working white people. But the problem with poor working white people is they are, you know what is happening with poor working white people? You know how you got stages of cancer, you feel me? They at the stage 4 level of white supremacy. They at the stage 4 level of white nationalism. That shit has taken such deep root in their spirit and their consciousness that it metastasized. It metastasized everywhere. And if they cannot find an aggressive cure, if we cannot discover an aggressive cure for this white nationalism, poor working white people, they ain't gonna make it. They at stage 4. Because every time you turn around, these people are so sick with the madness of the illusion of white supremacy that they are willing to literally sacrifice pieces of themselves, pieces of their safety, pieces of their sovereignty, pieces of their land, pieces of their history. They are literally willing to sacrifice body parts to hold on to whiteness. To hold on. And I'm not talking about white skinnedness. I'm talking about whiteness as a construct that is literally robbing them blind. And the thing that's so interesting about it is that during the French Revolution, because there wasn't a whole lot of Black people in France, you feel me? They could see clearly. something we need to study, because all these white people love to talk about the French Revolution. The French Revolution. They love to talk about the French Revolution. But it just struck me that when they were not in a constant contest with colored folks for scraps of nothing, that they were crystal clear. When the time came, when the time came for them to make a break with empire, when the time came to start putting billionaires' heads in the goddamn guillotine, they were crystal clear, completely clear about who the enemy was. It wasn't a homie over here making the same pitiful ass money they was making. It wasn't this person over here. It wasn't the quote white woman that had been called a witch all these years. They were singularly crystal clear to an apex, where they just rolled up into them mansions, rolled up into them castles, rolled up into them opulent neighborhoods, and dragged them motherfuckers out kicking and screaming. They were clear. But here we are today with so much more information, so much more education, and everything becomes the issue but the issue with them. Everything becomes people. I'm gonna tell you, the aristocracy, the nobility, the church, they did a good ass job. They was like, look, that bullshit that happened in the French Revolution, we can't afford for that shit to happen no more. We cannot afford for no shit like that to happen no more. We have to erect ourselves as rock stars among the poor. The poor have to love and protect us. This bullshit where they can just roll up in that goddamn mansion and shit, disrupt our motherfucking peace. Oh no, we can't have that shit no more. They did that. They learned from that. Because these white people here in the United States, I don't know. Every time I think there's a glimmer of hope among them, I'm like, I was tripping. I was tripping. And there may be, you white people, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. You understand? If there's some John Browns among you, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But until then, The fact that people are uncomfortable with me saying that until we resolve the genocide right here in the United States of America, the head of this beast, you can chop off a limb maybe, but that motherfucker will grow back like a hydra. You chop off one leg, 7 legs will grow back until we gut this bitch. Until, like the vampire it is, we stab this motherfucker in the heart and chop off the head for good measure. I said I wasn't gonna get hyped because I don't feel well in my body today, man. I don't. My heart is beating so hard it feels like any minute is gonna come up out of my body. Let me tell you, I'm gonna go ahead for the first time, and it's under 2 hours, and try to get to these things that I have been going in on so hard for the last 2 weeks since the day of the solstice. But I want to talk to you about, and hopefully I can take enough time and not get so in my feelings that I can clearly communicate to you why for the last 2 days I have been attempting to talk to you about the planet Saturn. First of all, I want to call on you to support the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. That means you're supporting me right now. You are supporting my life. You are supporting the work that I am doing, and knowing that the outcome is the inevitability of this project we have been trying to build together. You understand? That's what it is. And I'm not asking you to make me rich. I'm saying support me while I do this work. As I'm going to tell you one more thing before I go into Saturn. The other thing that this video about these 15 Black women did today, because my daughter called me 2 weeks ago My daughter, have you ever been so close, so close to completing something that occupied so much of your life and your brain space and your health and even your happiness and your pleasure and your playtime, something that just consumed you, so but you knew that as soon as the task was complete, it was going to change everything, that the drudgery that you have been dealing with, you could see right on the horizon, that once it was complete, like you climb to the apex, what, to the summit of a mountain, and it's hard because you climbing up and it's hard, and you knew as soon as it plateaus out, as soon as you go to the tip top, and now it's time to go down, that gravity is not working against you, it's working with you, so there'll be a natural flow. It'll be like all the boulders have been completely released, and shit will just open up so much more easily than you ever even imagined that. But you remember the tiredness, the exhaustion, the frustration of that. It was like the closer you got, the more frustrated you got. The closer you got, the further away it felt. You can see the summit. You're like, I'm almost there, but you don't get a second wind to make it. Your ass is like, oh my God, can this be over already? Fuck. You know what? Fuck it. I'm sitting down and I ain't going no further. I can see the summit, but I'm through. Man, I'm tired. There's some bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? When I was getting ready to graduate college, I'll never forget this. I was my daughter graduated high school 3 months after I graduated college. So the whole year was fucking insane. Anyway, my baby was graduating high school 3 months after I'm graduating college. We both struggling, fighting like hell to finish. And I remember 2 months, 3 months, 2 months before I was graduating high school, and we were doing all our like capstones and shit. I was writing like a million fucking papers. I was doing like 12-hour shifts in clinic and shit. And I was in the middle of a fucking divorce. The year that I graduated college, I was in the middle of a divorce. My two stepchildren, who I love just like my own, left at the beginning of the year. It was a radically tumultuous fucking year, on top of being in graduate school, finishing up graduate school, my daughter finishing up high school. It was too fucking much for one human to have to bear. And I was still working full time. And I remember talking to Dr. Wald. I'll never forget it. I said, Dr. Wald, look, now I done met all my benchmarks. I done did everything that I need to do. You understand what I'm saying? I was like, so why don't we just go ahead and give me my motherfucking degree right now and say that you already did your little paper and this and that and this and that. You took your little test and you did your little paper. Why don't we just go ahead and give me my motherfucking, give me my shit. I said it just like that. I said, Dr. Wall, just give me my shit. Just go ahead and give me my degree. You feel me? I won't out you. I won't let anybody else know that we did that. But just go ahead and let me loose, man, because this some bullshit. I can't make these last 2 months. I can't do it. He laughed. He said, if I would, if I could, but I can't do it. I said, I know you can do it, man. You the president of the school. Give me my shit. You know what I'm saying? But baby, I was serious. I was serious. I was so resentful. I was I was so resentful in graduate school because I was married. I had 3 teenage children. And even being married, I had absolutely 0% support. Not only 0% support, this person that I loved and held on to longer than I knew I should have was literally behaving like a fucking saboteur, like he was hired by some state organization to sabotage my life. I'm telling you, like I said the other day, I released that Negro of any blame. But while it was happening, it was the love and the sacrifice that I had made for him that allowed me to keep him in my space longer than I knew he needed to be, no longer than he should have been. And every single solitary day that man was in my house, it felt like the fucking state hired a bitch for the sole purpose of sabotaging my life. It is the equivalent of just being right there at the summit, and instead of getting a second wind, somebody throws a 200 pound backpack of boulders on your fucking back and 2 iron balls on chains on your ankles and say, okay, make the summit. That's what it felt like. That's where I'm at right now. That is where I am at right now. This is the moment that I am at. And last night, the live that I did, I felt like, yes, I'm tripping. Like, yes, shit is deep right now, but I got this. And I woke up this morning completely fucking subdued. And then I saw this video and I was like, I said, I need to take my fucking ass home. I need to pack up all my shit and take my ass home. I'm going to tell you, man, I have a decision to make. I'm not just talking to you. Today was a day of days. This full moon, this first full moon of the year that should have been us being able to plot on how our life, how last year was the worst year that it was ever going to be. And it was going to be uphill it was going to be uphill or downhill from here. There was going to be smooth sailing from here. And this fucking bastard executes a ritual. Today was a ritual. His invasion of fucking Venezuela, his kidnapping of the heads of state in Venezuela was a ritual. He did that shit today for a reason. It was a ritual. And I'm going to tell you, I saw a video, but I'm going to tell you something else. I feel so convicted. I don't think that it is delusions of grandeur. I don't, man. What I feel is a certainty. I feel a certainty. And I also feel like it will be different. That's the shit that I'm fucking up, that's fucking me up right now. Is having been a political activist as long as I have been, being in a revolutionary organization and seeing extraordinarily scary shit, man. Scary shit. As an activist, not an activist, as a fucking revolutionary. I was in a revolutionary organization, an organization that's been around since 1972. I have seen the state do scary shit, man. And at this age, I'm like, well, fuck it. You feel me? I done seen scary shit. I done seen the state do scary ass shit. But the one thing that I know about the state, the one thing that I know when I was getting ready to finish graduate school, this is around the time that this was in 2014. And this was around the time that the state started murdering doctors. I know y'all all know about it. I know y'all done seen the stories over the years about all of these holistic practitioners, quote, dying under mysterious circumstances, or holistic practitioners being chased under the threat of death out of this fucking country. There are so many alternative practitioners who permanently left the United States of America to practice in Mexico. I had 2 professors that had a practice in the country of Mexico because of the perpetual threats on their life here in the goddamn United States of America. Dr. Hulda Clark has been in fucking Mexico goddamn 50 years. You feel me? And so this shit wasn't make-believe. This was the shit that we were all talking about graduating acupuncture school, and everybody that I knew in graduate school were about that life. Everybody I knew, they weren't just, we just gonna be some acupuncturists. Everybody that I graduated with was like, we gonna use medicine to change the fucking world. That's everybody I graduated with. Everybody that I graduated with was a gangster. And so we start hearing these stories about the state offing anybody that was publicly declaring their opposition to very dangerous, harmful ways that the state was handling human beings. You feel me? Um, there was a young brother. I don't even think this brother had made 30 yet. He was in Georgia. This brother was a holistic dentist. That's all. He was just like, look, in my practice, we are completely holistic dentistry. We do not use metal amalgams and this and that and this and that. That's all. His little radio, his little, YouTube channel was just him talking about the reason that he believed in holistic dentistry. And died in a, quote, suspicious car accident where it appeared that his brake lines had been cut. Another woman here in California, she had a husband, 2 kids, and she was was she a naturopath? I think she was a naturopath. She wasn't nowhere near, y'all, as edgy as I am. She's just like, this is the reason that we have to this and that and this and that. Basic ass shit. It appears that her children, and her husband died in a break-in. Shut the fuck up. At the time that I graduated medical school, the number was up to 146 people in the practice of alternative medicine in one way or another being offed under mysterious circumstances. Now, me, unlike them, having been a hardcore political activist as long as I had been, I know what the state looked like. I know what the state do. And the only thing that we have to our advantage is numbers, because your numbers is your support. Your numbers, the people that know you, the people that care about your life and your existence, the people that rally around you. You understand what I'm saying? This is what gives you some level of protection from the diabolatry that the state would be up to try to silence your presence on the planet. But when I say the state, I want y'all to be clear about what I'm saying. I'm not just talking about the police or the IRS or the CIA or the ATF or the FBI, obvious state, right? I'm talking about the American Medical Association, the goddamn, what you call that shit? The Food and Drug Administration. I'm talking about the goddamn CDC, the Centers for Disease Control. That's the state. I'm talking about the fucking mafia in all of the branches, the Jewish mafia, the Italian mafia. I don't give a fuck. I'm talking about Hollywood as the state. Not only the quote, nonviolent arm of the state that's responsible for the war of ideas. I am talking about Hollywood as a violently militarized arm of the goddamn state. That's what I'm talking about. You understand? And so my daughter called me 2 weeks ago, genuinely concerned about this decision that I had made to put my name in the hat to run for mayor of Los Angeles. She's like, Mom, my baby grew up in the movement. My daughter was 3 years old when I joined the African People's Socialist Party. My daughter had become accustomed to seeing strange men that didn't belong in our neighborhood. I'm telling you, man, these are scare tactics. So this is just the type of shit you get used to. Right? It doesn't mean that there might not be violence attached to it, but most of the time it's just to see if they can intimidate you out of doing what you're doing or saying what you're saying or making the decision that you are making. Right? And my initial response to my mom, to my daughter, I haven't told my mom, but my initial response to my daughter the day after I went to the ethics commission to submit the paperwork was that this thing my response at that time was, this thing that must be done. I felt, I'm not sure. But I felt at the time that my daughter called me that it was actually a strategically sound move to make. I had reasoned, I told you I'd made the decision in June and spent from June until the beginning of December trying to talk myself out of it. Thinking about life politically, thinking about my own personal life. You understand? I would no longer have what is it? Anonymity. I would no longer have anonymity, right? Never again would I have anonymity if I put myself out there this way. Not only that, thinking about the 15 years, the 20 years that I spent as, a revolutionary socialist activist, and the kind of discomfort as far as the state was concerned that presented in my life. Like, was I ready? Am I ready to live that way times 1,000? This was in Florida. But am I ready to live that way times 1,000 by putting myself out there this way? And today, and I was certain, I'll be honest, I was certain until today. My response to my daughter was that to engage in this campaign, to wage this campaign, would do a number of things. One, the campaign itself, in my mind at the time, would consolidate a level of notoriety and support that could function as a political shield. Do you understand? That unlike these 15 Black women who, even though they were famous, died alone, died impoverished, the one thing was that they did not publicly make noise, irritate Hollywood in a way to garner the kind of support that may have had a different kind of outcome and impact on their life. That was what I was thinking while I was watching that. Was that how did nobody know that they were struggling, suffering the way that they were, despite the fact that they were very, very well-known and accomplished actresses in the city? How is it possible that these women were able to die the way that they did, and nobody blink an eye? Nobody wonder in real time, where are they? What has happened to them? What did these motherfucking bastards in Hollywood do to them? Can we find them and rally around them and support them? But that does not happen for Black women. So me saying, okay, this thing that I know I fully have the capacity to do, not only fully have the capacity to do, but my life has been in training for this very, very moment. Having the capacity to do, but trying to reconcile that what in my left brain strategically I am thinking that the act itself will provide for me in terms of a certain level of security and notoriety that will keep me safe while waging this campaign, that will keep me, shielded while waging this campaign. But the right side of my brain is like, bitch, but you Black and female. But you got to remember your ass is Black and female, bitch. And so that's the war that's been raging in my own mind since I walked down to the Ethics Commission and put this application in to stake my claim in this bid in this fucking city. And the other thing is even deeper than that, but dare I not You know what? I will say it out loud. I will say it out loud. I will say it out loud. There is when I talked about the young girl that invited me to her house and said that little fucking nasty prayer about black skinned Egyptians and how we was rescued from these evil Egyptians, despite the fact now that 1,000% archaeologists and anthropologists, even those who have been Hebrew, have all agreed with one voice that there is no evidence. Not only is there no evidence that it is an impossibility that, quote, Jewish people were held hostage by Egyptians and worked as slaves to build the pyramids. Across the board, there are so many archaeologists and anthropologists and historians that have agreed across the board that that shit is a mythology. Why would you make up such a monstrous myth like that? What would be the need to create such a monstrous myth? And this monstrous myth becoming the fertile ground through which many other monstrous myths were able to flourish. I read y'all the whole chapter of the King James Version Bible, the book of Esther, because I was like, everybody was talking about Project Esther, and so we read Project Esther. I was like, why they name it? This don't tell me why they named it Project Esther though. Why they use this bitch name? You feel me? What was special about her? What was special about her? One book that ain't but two female book names in the whole Bible? So what was it special about her and her story that had these white nationalists, the Heritage Foundation, name the book after name their little project after a so-called Hebrew? What was it about this female Hebrew that they found necessary? And then we read the whole book of Esther, which was a diabolical, monstrous, terrifying, fucked up story. How you can read that story and not be utterly disgusted is beyond me. But there are Christians right now today in churches around the country reading the story of Esther and coming to the same conclusion that the perpetual victims of the world, thank you for that, Earth Beauty 01, the perpetual victims of the world continue to shout from the mountaintops about why they have a right to own and dominate the entire globe. Because that's their ambition. That's their ambition. That shit ain't no goddamn conspiracy theory. That is the objective, because they will tell you out their mouth that as the, quote, soul chosen on the planet, that the planet was shaped and molded and crafted just for them. And that the only reason that they got made other motherfuckers, the Gentiles, is to serve them and their every whim. So you be acting confused, bewildered, and dismayed when you hear stories like coming out of fucking New York and Mexico. Hasidic Jews, devout Hasidic Jews running rings, kidnapping Mexican children, and you act betrayed and amazed, and you are confused when you see baby beds and baby hot chairs in a goddamn tunnel under the city of New York, or you hear these freaking stories, Epstein's, and what's that other nigga name? Weinstein for 40 years, committing all kinds of crimes against women and children, entering into the industry. And you act, not just him, Woody Allen, not just him, name them. Name them. But see, they do not get quantified and qualified. Their crimes do not get quantified and qualified as a tendency peculiar to them. But your black ass, color out of line one time. and your ass color out of line one time, and the whole black community everywhere on earth, wherever we is corrupt and fucked up, and this one Negro coloring outside the goddamn lines is the evidence of the perpetual diabolical nature of black skinned people, and this becomes the basis for why everybody on the planet think they can do with us the fuck what they want to do. And so you need to perpetually create lies. And we are so afraid of being called a quote bigot that even when we see tendencies, we just watched last month, this girl released this video of 5 Israeli soldiers raping a male inmate, a prisoner. We watched it. And we would not dare say that this is indicative of a tendency of those whose brains have been so polluted by mythology, and that this is the only outcome is brigandage. Not just brigandage. Let me go ahead and talk to y'all about what I want to talk to y'all about. Not just brigandage. It is the only outcome that can happen. It's the only outcome that can be made when you have an entire worldview and philosophy that is shaped by rape, abduction, I will say, do not be offended because there's a point that I'm going to make. But he, she, shit. There was one more thing. So it was abduction. Oh, and sacrifice. Oh, and cannibalism. These words I have said for a reason. Okay. And we're going to talk about it. Because these conspiracy theories that, these Illuminati takeover of hip hop dudes been talking about for some time. The signs and symbols that somebody's, quote, in league with the devil, all the little signs that people can deep dive into. It's hard not to get lost in that shit because it is quite fascinating. But there's a conclusion that we have to be making. And today, what happened today in Venezuela, the fact that New Year's Day and New Year's Eve was just 3-4 days ago, and the fact that we transitioned into Capricorn season on the 21st, I was like, okay, because I deliberately made up my mind I wasn't going to do anything on December 31st. I didn't know why. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. Like, I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to go have a drink. I'm just going to sit at home and just keep studying, keep doing what I'm doing, because I know that there's something profound coming from it. So the first thing that happened was on December 31st in the morning, I had my TV playing and my YouTube on. And a video came through my For You, and it was called, the name of the video was Don't Celebrate New Year's Eve. I said, what? So I turned it off. And I was not prepared for my mind to be blown the way that it was. The link is in the description box below this video. I was not, all I saw was don't celebrate December 31st. I said, oh shit, what's this gonna be? You feel me? Baby, this video, it was only maybe about 30 minutes long, but it was saying shit I just never heard. I never heard anybody talk about. And we had been talking at length about the winter solstice and Jesus' hostile takeover of Saturnalia to disappear the great grandmother crone, this and that, right? But I never heard anything about January 1st and and December 31st. And how December 31st was he said it. He's like, has anybody ever even asked why, unlike any other culture in history, we celebrate the new year on January 1st? He said most places around the world, historically, if not currently, celebrated the beginning of their new year based on astrological and astronomical occurrences that would alert them to the change in a season that is particularly important to the agricultural process. So typically, most cultures around the world, at least in the northern hemisphere, would celebrate their new year on the spring equinox, because this would alert them to the official end of winter and this period now where they need to start preparing the soil to take seeds. So this pretty ubiquitously um, was when the new year would begin for most cultures. It was functional. It was a functional, um, still spiritual, but a functional spiritual practice that would alert them to something that needed to happen within the context of ensuring food for the group. Okay. And he said, so why is it that we celebrate the new year on January 1st? What is significant about January 1st? There's no real significant astronomical or astrological event that happens on January 1st. The solstice is a couple of weeks before that. So why is it that we celebrate, quote, the new year, and now have made it so that damn near everybody on earth celebrates the new year on January the 1st? And he started talking about how December 31st and January 1st, but December 31st in particular, the New Year's Eve ceremony was a ritual that was created while Rome was still pagan. It was a ceremony to the god Janus. That's what January is named after, is this god Janus, who is, quote, considered a primordial deity, so primordial that the Romans did not have a syncretized deity to correlate with him. And so what I mean by syncretizing, right? So like when the Romans conquered the Greeks, they didn't kill all their gods. They just gave them Roman names. They kept all the gods the same. They just gave them Roman names, right? But they did not have a sequenced compatible deity with Janus. Janus was primordial. Okay. And you will find that this is the case throughout several other traditions, is that there are certain deities that are so, quote, primordial, so old, that you will have a difficult time finding across cultures who they are across cultures. That'll be important. So Janus was always pictured primarily as a two-faced deity and sometimes a four-faced deity. Okay? Sometimes he would be like two opposed. So this is the front. This is the front of his face. So two opposing, head to head, but one body facing away from each other, supposedly indicating his ability to at the same time see all futures and all pasts. Janus, hold on, let me see. Hold on, let me share screen. Where he at? Oh dang, did I? Oh, I might have. I didn't intend to do that. Damn. Uh, You know what? Let's do it this way then. All right, let me do it this way. Hold on. Let me open up a folder. Yeah. Okay, can y'all still see me? Because I can't see me. That's why I'm asking. Okay, there I am. All right. Somebody on YouTube, give me a thumbs up if y'all can still see and hear me. All right, cool. All right. So let me find this file right quick, and I'm because I saved it, and I'm gonna just read it to you. Yeah, let's do it like that. Damn. I guess. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see here. Aries, Atlantis, Capricorn, Divine Twins, Gemini Myths. Damn. Thought I saved this shit. Cult of the Twin Deities, Twins in Mythology. Damn, that's crazy. I thought for sure I saved that. Okay, well. Damn, that sucks. Okay, well, I thought for sure I'll save that. How cap season, that's not it. That'll make no sense. I know I saved that. LBER, no. It's not that. I didn't save it as a Word document. Damn, that's some bullshit. Anyway, I guess I didn't save it. I thought I did. It's crazy. Oh, but you know what I did do? Let's see. Actually, I think I put some text inside the description box below. But long and the short of it is, this deity Janus, he was known as the opener and closer of all doors, the owner of all gateways, and he was the keeper of secrets, and there was an ancient temple in Rome dedicated to Janus, and this temple, they said that for many years, the story of the temple door was that the temple door would be open if Rome was currently engaged in war. If Rome was not engaged in war, if there was a period of peace, then everyone in the kingdom would know it because the door to the temple would be closed. It went on to say, it was very rare in the whole of Roman history for the door to be closed. Did y'all hear me? Is everybody following? Give me a thumbs up before I go on. This is so important. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you in here. Something so I can move on. This deity, Janus, who this month, January, is fashioned after. That's what this month's name came from. This war deity, Janus. He was considered a war god because he could see everything. He was either the two-faced or the four-faced. He was the opener and closer of every road, of every gateway, of every door, of every, quote, arch, right? And the temple where he was worshipped, the way that they would acknowledge whether Rome was at war or not at war was the temple priest would have the door remain open as long as Rome was at war. And if there was a period of peace, then the temple priest would close the door to alert the Roman citizens that they were now not in war. And this article went on to say that in the whole of Roman history, it was rare for the fucking door to close. And so on December 31st, the day before you transition into this war gods month, there would be ceremonies, rituals that would happen to welcome the war god, to welcome him New Year's Eve, to welcome him, the war god. And this video went piece by piece of all the things that we do ceremonially to celebrate the new year. And every single one of these things that we do have their origin in ancient pagan Rome. All of these things. He talked about how in modern day people go to New York City to try to get to New York City at least once in their life to see the ball drop, right? And in this ritual to go see the ball drop, he talked about what laws were created for people to be able to see the ball drop in Madison Square Garden. That on the website, it tells you to make sure to wear some type of adult diaper because there are hardly any bathrooms and you will be standing for 10 hours in your space to watch the ball drop. And if you move from your space, you will not be allowed back in. So people will literally wear diapers and stand in sub-zero degree weather for 10 hours to see the ball drop. And how this may not seem like a big deal for people who are really about that life to go out there and see the ball drop. He said, but this is a ritual of pain and sacrifice, which the war god loves. I said, oh my God. He talked about the etymology of the word resolution and why we make resolutions every year. And when we make resolutions every year with all this enthusiasm, these promises that we make to ourselves about what we gonna do in the year and shit, and then we are failures. That's what the guy on the video is saying. And then we failures 6 weeks into the goddamn new year. If we lucky, we failures within 6 weeks. Some of us sooner than that, right? And he talked about the the basis for making these resolutions. We make these resolutions that are about ourselves and our own self-development and shit like that. He said, but in those days, people would resolve to write some situation with another, that their quote resolution was to resolve some conflict with another, right? I was like, well, that's interesting. I'm not gonna go that deep into that. But him talking about the reason that we drink champagne, that we kiss a stranger, that kind of thing. He talked about when pagan Rome transitioned from pagan Rome to papal Rome, people, the church, the Roman Catholic Church, in the earlier stages, tried to get people out of this habit of celebrating Saturnalia. That it was just such a long history of people celebrating at the winter solstice Saturnalia, or it was another name when Dionysus was the chief deity, but whatever. This habit at the winter solstice for people to be in the process of debauchery and libation and dancing and singing and cutting the fuck up, right? And the church had a really, really hard time weeding out this behavior, even under the threat of hell and, in jail and all of this shit. The church had a hard time breaking this tradition out of people. And so what they did was they compromised. The church compromising with old pagan religions was like, we'll use the winter solstice to celebrate Jesus, and we'll use the New Year's as a way to still, quote, bring in, quote, a new year. And so even the church became complicit, because they knew that the subtext of the worship of, or the subtext of the purpose of turning up on December 31st was to welcome the war god in to the new year. To welcome the war god. And so as soon as I saw this news today about what this monstrous motherfucker did in Venezuela today, and then the first thing that I thought about was how we entered the new year last year when he entered into the White House. Does anybody remember what happened on January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th last year? Do I still have the page open? Of course not. But the links are in the description box below. I put the links in the description box below, because the first was the bomb in the Tesla car in front of Trump Towers. That was January 1st. January 1st, some Negro out of nowhere, ex-Marine, rents a pickup truck in Texas, drives to New Orleans, and ends up doing what? Killing, sacrificing 14 human beings, driving through a party, driving through people celebrating in New Orleans. You understand? Killing 14, injuring 100, driving the pickup truck just straight through people, driving over people. 14 young people killed January 1st. As a matter of fact, December 31st into January 1st, that happened. Those two things happened. The Tesla bomb in front of Trump Towers, and both the vehicles was white. I don't know if y'all remember that. I was like, that was a hell of a detail. Both the vehicles was white. And these were the sacrifices. These were the offerings. Y'all went out, cheered, drank, did your libations, all the other little shit that are a part of the ceremonial process, right? And then, like every war god, there needs to be drinking and libation and kissing and having sex. That's what y'all did on December 31st. And then to officially welcome the war god into the new year, there has to be blood. There has to be blood. When I tell y'all, I'm telling you, this is not conspiracy theory shit. That when you spend as long as I have in traditional ancestral tradition, you begin to see very scripted, very specific, old blood ritual happening before your eyes all the time. All the time. This was, and I was like, and it did, I was just like, when Trump entered office, when we entered the new year last year, I was like, this is just him doing what he gonna do to scare people into submission, because he promised shock and awe, shock and awe, shock and awe, shock and awe. That's all they talked about from November through to the new year. Shock and awe, shock and awe, shock and awe. And so day one, these two big things that was taking up all the news on that day, and then it was like 4 different things that happened that week from January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 4th, right? And then a week later, the California, the Los Angeles fires, right? And so it was this just radical sequence of diabolical shit the whole year. And I was like, this is just Trump doing what Trump gonna do. I didn't know anything about Janice, about this quote holiday being a long, perpetual ritual that has been done by the Roman Empire and representatives of the empire, aka the Pope, aka the church, aka since the age of pagan Rome. Why they do that? You feel me? Because people want to make shit conspiracy theory, or make shit like, it ain't none of that. It's just political. Come on. Can we get past that already? Can we get past that already? Yes, there are political attributes and important issues of all machinations, but to just cut that off from everything that you see these people in positions of power doing in your face, and to say that it's something other than what it is, to me is bizarre. To me is bizarre. So that was the first thing I wanted to talk about. And Janice, the other reason that I talked about the fact that he had no syncretized deity associated with him throughout the traditions. This is Crone. This is the great grandmother Crone. So on the wiki about him, it says that he is a primordial deity. Who was a primordial deity in Greek mythology that preceded Saturn, aka Kronos, aka Kronos, and Uranus. Uranus was supposed to be the father of Kronos, right? And Uranus was a primordial, right? And so these primordials, quote, self-creating, self-generating deities that are always given some kind of male attribute, but they're called primordials because supposedly they do not have, quote, parents, parent deities, right? This is great grandmother Crone. This is attributes of great grandmother Crone. The reason yesterday, when I was going to talk to you about this, that I put that beautiful picture of Nana Budaku. Most of you probably haven't even heard of her. But Nana Budaku, that beautiful picture of the old lady dressed in all purple, and in front of her, there's a big image of the earth, and it's all purple. Remember that? That picture is a picture of Nana Budaku. And when I was a practitioner of Ifa, nobody ever talked about Nana Budaku, ever, nowhere. I just happened to find something about her. I was like, who is this? Because I'd never heard anything about her. And anybody who is up in here who still practices Ifa, let me know if you have heard of Nana Budaku, right? So I was obsessed right away. I was like, oh, I like her story. So I'm reading. As a matter of fact, man, I gotta organize my goddamn life. How I can't never find what the hell I'm looking for when I'm looking for it, and I know it was just where it was. Hell, damn. Where's that book? This is bonkers. Some bullshit is what it is. Okay, well, what the fuck? This is some bullshit. I don't like that. do not like that. Man. The hell? I know. I just had this book. Well, that sucks. Trash. Anyway. Whatever, goddamn it. Let me see. I know I had that page open. So Nana Budaku, here she is. So I'm gonna share a page real quick. All right, let's see. Like how they are. Oh, she's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. Look at this picture. Oh my God. Can y'all see that? She's so beautiful. Her beautiful self. So this is a picture of Nana Budaku. And I loved her story so much. I can't believe that there's no way to split the tab for this or something. So I just don't feel like this shit is just not very functional. But anyway, we're gonna try to read here what they got to say about Nana Budaku. So Nana Budaku, a deity revered in various African and Afro-diasporic religions such as Voodoo or Condomble, known by names like Nana Budaku, Nanan Budaku. She stands as a towering figure in these spiritual traditions, often portrayed as the grandmother of all other deities. Her roles and myths weave through the fabric of creation, the earth, and the moon, offering a rich tapestry of symbolism and significance. In this blog, we delve into the multifaceted aspects of Nana Budaku, uncovering her 10 pivotal roles in these traditions. From her status as a primordial deity involved in the universe's creation to her representation as an earth goddess symbolizing fertility and life, each role highlights a unique facet of her divine nature. We explore her connection to the moon, her significance as the common ancestress of all deities, and her embodiment of maternal love and wisdom. As we journey through the myths and roles of Nana Budaku, we aim to provide a deeper understanding of her significance in the spiritual landscape of African and Afro-diasporic religions. Join us in this enlightening exploration of a deity who is not only a creator and nurturer, but also a symbol of wisdom and the passage of time. Okay, hold on. Because for whatever reason, you can't scroll through this while you are on YouTube, which is the most bunk shit ever. YouTube, y'all need to fix that. Okay. Damn. Bullshit. Okay. Roles and myths of Orisha, Nana Budaku. I want to read through these because that's a good question, Sage Page. Sage Page says the doors open in Rome. I wonder if that's why the Pope opens these 5 doors. That's a good ass question. That's a good ass question. Let's see. So Nana Budaku, also known as Nanan Budaku, is a deity recognized in several African and Afro-diasporic religions, including Voodoo and Condomble. She's often blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Why you gotta repeat the same thing? Okay, so here are the 10 roles of Nana Budaku in these various traditions. She is a primordial deity. Orisha Nana Budaku is often considered a primordial deity predating all others. There are 401 Orisha in the Ifa tradition. 401 Orisha in the Ifa tradition. Nana Budaku is known as a primordial deity to predating all others, and involved in the creation of the universe. Let's see, and then it says the source. Okay. Earth, she is an earth. Number 2, she's an earth goddess. Nana Buddhaku is often associated with the earth, symbolizing the fertility and life-giving aspects of the planet. Okay. She is a creator of the moon. In some traditions, Nana Buddhaku is said to have created the moon, which serves as her symbol and is associated with feminine energy. Okay. Number 4, she is the ancestor of deities. Nana Buddhaku is considered the grandmother of all deities, a common ancestress from which other Orisha descended. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I gotta keep doing it like that, but this shit is not very functional. Okay. Then it says shit. Then it says she, number 5, goddess of maternal love. Nana Buddhaku is often portrayed as a nurturing figure embodying maternal love and care. Number 6, she is a goddess of wisdom and old age. As a grandmother figure, Nana Buddhaku is associated with wisdom and the passage of time. She is seen as a source of guidance and counsel. Number 7, she's a protector of nature. Orisha Nana Buddhaku is sometimes seen as a protector of nature and the earth, reflecting her role as an earth goddess. She's a healer. In some traditions, Orisha Nana Buddhaku is considered a healer, using her deep wisdom and connection to the earth to heal physical and spiritual elements. She's a symbol of the life cycle. Nana Buddhaku embodies the cycle of life and death, birth and rebirth, reflecting the natural processes of the earth and the cycles of the moon. This is important. She, number 10, she is a figure of respect and reverence. Listen, this is important. I need to figure out how to make a graph out of this shit or some shit. As a primordial deity and the grandmother of all other Orisha, Nana Buddhaku is often held in great respect and reverence in these traditions. Hold on. The roles of Nana Buddhaku can vary widely among different communities as religious traditions, reflecting the diverse ways which this important deity is understood and revered. And so let's look through this real quick like. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to some things. Those of you who are tuning in on IG or TikTok, you might want to join us over here on Daughter of the Fates. That's the name of my YouTube channel, is Daughter of the Fates, because this is how you're going to be able to see the graphs and everything. But anyway, her symbols, some of her symbols are a bundle of palm leaf veins wrapped in cowrie shells, held in the right hand with one end pointing downwards to symbolize returning life. I want y'all to hear me. I have to figure out a way to display this. But anyway, the colors: blush white, purple, and black. Natural places: lakes, deep waters, mud, cemeteries, and swamps. She loves all violet flowers. Her essences are lily, orchid, lemon, narcissus, and dahlia. Her stones are amethyst, caucasianite, I haven't heard of that one, and tanzanite. Her metals are brass and nickel. Health is typically headaches and digestive problems. Planet is Moon and Mercury, but her weekday is Saturday. This is important. Element is stagnant or muddy waters and fertility. Her chakra is the third eye and the third chakra. Her greeting is saluba. Her animals are goats, frogs. That's important. Goats, frogs, guinea fowls, ducks, and owls. Plants are cypress and Brunfelsia uniflora, Golfa redondo, Tanya, pepper plant, Aristolchia, Symbifero, Bifera, so on, so on, so on, so on. Popcorn, beans, rice, honey, yam, root, and efo. Those are the offerings. So on, so on. 13 is her number. June 26th is her commemoration day. Her responsibilities, this is important: life and death, health, and motherhood. As a matter of fact, let me write this down. That is important. Life and death and health. Oh my God, this is so important. And motherhood. Yo, it's so important. Yeah, damn it. Okay. Her syncretism. So this is the only thing. Okay, yes. Her syncretism is Saint Anne or Santana. Her manifestations are Ologbo, Biodun, Asanan, Alegbe, Susure, Igbayin, Buruku, Igbanan, Insele, Tionloko, Aja Osi, Ikure, Abinji, Ajapa, Okporo, Ayala, and Omilare. Incompatibilities: ram, cat, roots, starfish, crabs, blades, crowds. Her title is the Mistress of Death. Yo, 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 yo. Okay. All right. Doot-de-doo. Let's see. Nanabudaku, deity of rain. Love that. Mangroves and the mistress of death. Let me see what else is there. Man. Shit. I kind of want to read all of this to y'all. Okay. So, as the deity of rain and mangroves and the mistress of death, Nanabudaku, known by many names, is a revered deity in Voodoo and Orisha religions. As the goddess of rain, mangroves, swamps, mud, and the mistress of death, she plays a crucial role in the life cycle. She oversees the portals of reincarnation and disincarnation. Come on in the room. Cultural evolution from Dahomey to Yoruba. Originating from Dahomey, Nanabudaku was integrated into Yoruba mythology when the Nago people conquered Dahomey. This cultural amalgamation placed Nana as the mother of the children of Dahomey alongside the father figure Oshala and Yemanja as the mother of the Nago children. The mythological relations, Nana's family ties. In the rich tapestry of Orisha mythology, Nana is depicted as the first wife of Oshala. Um, their union produced significant deities such as Iroko, or Tempo or Tembo, Omolu or Obaluaye, God, or Oshumare, each playing vital roles in the Yoruba Dahami religious narratives. Her maternal challenge. Nana Buduku's journey as a mother was marked by a poignant story involving her firstborn, Omulu, born with skin diseases. Her initial rejection of Omulu, who was later nurtured by Yemanja, adds depth to her character. This illustrates the complexities of maternal love and acceptance in the Orisha lore. Her symbols and associations, the Ibiri staff and stagnant waters. Nana is closely associated with stagnant waters, symbolizing her deep connection with the primordial elements of life and death. She wields the Ibiri staff as a powerful symbol in her worship and is considered the oldest Orisha, predating even the Iron Age. Nana and human memory, the prehistoric Orisha. Nana's ancient origins are reflected in her association with human memory and senility. As a deity predating the discovery of fire, her story is deeply rooted in the earliest human experiences and spiritualities. Ritual practices, respecting Nana's primordial nature. In her rituals, Nana's prehistoric nature is honored through the exclusion of iron and the use of wooden or clay objects. This reflects her ancient origins and her deep connection with the natural world. There's another story I've heard about why you don't use about why you do not use iron when making offerings to Nana Buduku. I'll see if they say anything about it here, but let's see. The dual nature of Nana, goddess of life and death. Nana Buduku embodies the duality of life and death. She is revered as a deity who nurtures life and also presides over death. This dual nature makes her a complex and completely respected figure in the Orisha pantheon. Do 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 do. Okay, so let me just say something really quick because it's important. What I learned when I first started reading about and learning about Nana Buduku, there's a story. It's actually very similar to the story that I read to you guys about Yemanja and her relationship with Ogun. Let's see. And in this story, Ogun, who is represented by Mars, by the planet Mars. This is important. This is why understanding syncretism is important. In this story about why Nana Buduku is completely up, the story goes that she is completely opposed to Ogun. Now Ogun is a grandchild, but she is completely opposed to Ogun because Ogun was challenging her power. And in his challenge to her power, he raped Nana Buduku. In a challenge to her primordial power, the story is that Ogun raped Nana Buduku, and so she, in order to quote pay respect and reverence to her, you cannot place her anywhere near. So you'll have a lot of people in the tradition who may have been in the tradition a long time, and so they have these dope ass like shrine rooms, right? Like my godmother has a dope ass shrine room. It's like from ceiling to floor, wall to wall, the whole room is nothing but the altars to the different Orisha that she has received over her lifetime, whatever. In this story about Nanaburuku and Ogun, where Ogun, in his attempt to overthrow her power, rapes the primordial. Does this sound familiar? Okay. In his attempt to overthrow her, rapes her. And so it is said that if you receive Nanaburuku and you have a shrine to Nanaburuku, you cannot. So if you have a shrine room, right, and you receive Nanaburuku, but you also receive Ogun, you feel me? Your Ogun pot cannot be anywhere in the room. It can't just not be in like next to her or nothing. It can't be in the same room. He got to be outside somewhere. He can't be inside. He can't be in your shrine room. And there is a similar story that is told about Ogun and Yemaya, where there is one story. I ain't gonna try to look for it. There's a story where Ogun rapes Yemaya. Okay, some traditions, depending upon where you at, Condomble, Voodoo, Santeria, whatever, some will say that they had incestuous sex because in this story, Yemaya is Ogun's mother. He is Ogun. Ogun is Yemaya is Ogun's mother, and in some versions of the story, it says that they had a secret incestuous relationship. While I think it was either, don't misquote me, okay, but I think it was about, was it Obatala? I think it was Obatala that was the father, and while Obatala was out, this is one version of the story. While Obatala was out, Ogun would give Eshu his portion of food because Eshu loved to eat, and so he would keep giving Eshu his food or something like that. I forget, but anyway, it was like he would trick Eshu so that he and Yemaya could be alone, and they had, quote, an incestuous relationship. That's one way the story is told, and then the other way the story is told, the way I originally heard it, was that Ogun raped Yemaya and whatever, right? The reason I keep mentioning this is because what did I say when I first said that these words were going to be important when we started having a conversation about Saturn? What was the first word I said? I said rape was going to be the first word that was going to be important. I said abduction was another word that was going to be important, right? Sacrifice was going to be a word that was important, so on and so on. But the first word I said was rape was going to be important. This is why syncretism, understanding syncretism, becomes so important. So that was the way I heard the story. So let's see. These are about her patakis. Hold on. There might be something that is important, but maybe for later. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on from that. All right, so now, so let me read some things from here for those of you who want to open your books. This is the Women's Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects, written by Barbara Walker. So I've been up in this book heavy since the 21st. And I did not know what kind of mission she was going to be sending me up on. So let me stop sharing. I didn't know what kind of mission she was going to send me on, but she had a lot to say, Miss Barbara G. Walker. So let's get on up in here. Okay. I want you to remember what I just read to you about the syncretism. Okay. All right. So let me just start where I started. Okay. All right. All right. All right. This is going to be a walk, y'all. Okay. So, all right. Let's see here. So I'll tell you guys, for those of you who have the book, the Women's Encyclopedia of the Women's Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects. But you know what? I should pull the encyclopedia out too. But I should have did that. But I'll let you know what pages I'm moving to, because it'll be page after page after page. That way, if you come back and watch the video, you'll know what page to turn to. Okay, so page 3 of the Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects. Page 3, right out the gate, she's talking about Saturn. Saturn, also known as the Black Sun. That's the Black Sun. As a matter of fact, before we get started, sorry, let me go to something that I did leave open for you guys. Yeah, we're gonna do that first. Yo. Okay, before we read out the book, there's something I want to show y'all. Hold on. I did leave this one open. Okay, so share screen. Where's it? The mystery behind. So if you want to revisit this later, the name of the video is called The Mystery of the Cult of Saturn. Hold on. Those of you on IG or TikTok, you may not be able to hear this well, so you might want to join us over here on YouTube.
Miami lipidologist prevents hypertension.
Watch what salt does to your body.
They had a lot of
this 7-second artery flush could save.
Coming in a 1-pack, a 2-pack, and a 4-pack, this changes the outlet game. So I'm missing a screw that goes right in the middle just to show you.
Oh my God.
Throughout history, few celestial bodies have inspired as much intrigue, fear, and reverence as Saturn. This ringed planet, the 6th from the sun, is not only a marvel of the natural world, but also a central figure in ancient myths and occult traditions. Throughout history, Saturn has been associated with time, death, and the inevitable decay that comes with both. Today, we explore the enigmatic history of the cult of Saturn, an ancient belief system that has left its mark on various religions and cultures. We will delve into the origins of this cult, its symbolic connections to the hexagon found on Saturn's North Pole, and how these symbols have permeated human consciousness and belief systems across millennia. The origins and evolution of the cult of Saturn. The cult of Saturn is one of the most enigmatic and oldest belief systems known to humanity. Saturn, known as Kronos in Greek mythology, was the god of time, often depicted as an old man with a sickle, symbolizing the harvest and the inevitable passage of time. Kronos, a titan, was also the god of agriculture, a reminder of the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. His reign was considered the Golden Age, a time of abundance and peace. But it was also marked by the darker aspect of time, the inevitable decay and destruction that follows creation. However, the worship of Saturn predates even the Greek and Roman civilizations. Scholars suggest that the roots of the Saturnian cult can be traced back to early Mesopotamian and Sumerian cultures, where Saturn was linked to deities such as Enlil, the god of wind, air, earth, and storms. Enlil, much like Saturn, was a god of great power, both feared and revered. He was seen as a creator, but also a destroyer, capable of bringing life, but also death through his wrath. This duality, creation and destruction, life and death, became a central theme in the worship of Saturn across different cultures. In ancient Egypt, Saturn was associated with the god Osiris, the lord of the underworld, who also embodied the themes of death and resurrection. Osiris, much like Saturn, was a complex deity, representing the cycle of life and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. The Egyptians saw the passage of time as a cycle, with death being a necessary step for the rebirth of the soul, a belief that resonated deeply with the worship of Saturn. As human civilizations evolved, so did the worship of Saturn. In Rome, Saturn was celebrated during the festival of Saturnalia, a week-long period of revelry, role reversals, and the suspension of societal norms. This festival, held in December, became the precursor to many modern celebrations, including Christmas. During Saturnalia, the social order was upended. Slaves were treated as equals to their masters, gifts were exchanged, and a spirit of equality and community prevailed, echoing the golden age of Saturn's rule. Yet, the darker aspects of Saturn were never far from the surface. As the god of time, Saturn was also the devourer of all things, including his own children, as depicted in the myth where Kronos eats his offspring to prevent them from usurping his throne. This act of devouring symbolizes the inescapable nature of time, which consumes everything in its path, leading to the eventual end of all.
I want to make sure that we are not just watching this, but we are hearing this, okay?
Exchanged, and a spirit of equality and community prevailed, echoing the golden age of Saturn's rule. Yet, the darker aspects of Saturn were never far from the surface. As the god of time, Saturn was also the devourer of all things, including his own children, as depicted in the myth where Kronos eats his offspring to prevent them from usurping his throne. This act of devouring symbolizes the inescapable nature of time, which consumes everything in its path, leading to the eventual end of all things. Saturn as the dark sun. One of the more esoteric and intriguing aspects of the Saturnian mythos is the idea that Saturn was once a dark sun, a primordial star that was the original source of light for our planet. This concept, rooted in alternative cosmology, posits that before the current solar system configuration, Saturn was a central sun around which Earth and other planets orbited. This period, often referred to as the purple dawn of creation, is said to have been a time of great tranquility, where the Earth was bathed in the dim, purplish light of Saturn. According to this hypothesis, Saturn was a brown dwarf star that emitted a soft, diffuse light, creating an environment vastly different from the one we know today. The sky was not the bright blue we see now, but a deep, purplish hue, with Saturn looming large as a constant presence in the sky. This era, shrouded in myth and speculation, is thought to have ended when Saturn was pulled into the current solar system's heliocentric orbit, where it was demoted from a star to a planet. This cataclysmic event is said to have caused massive upheavals on Earth, including floods, earthquakes, and other natural disasters, which were recorded in the myths and legends of ancient cultures. The displacement of Saturn from its central position to the outer reaches of the solar system marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new one, an era dominated by the sun as we know it today. This theory, while not widely accepted in mainstream science, has found a place in the realm of esoteric thought and alternative history. It suggests that the ancient worship of Saturn as the dark sun or black sun is a remembrance of this lost era, when Saturn was the ruler of the skies and the bringer of life. The mysterious hexagon of Saturn. Perhaps the most intriguing and mysterious feature of Saturn is the massive hexagon-shaped storm at its North Pole. Discovered by the Voyager spacecraft in the 1980s and later observed.
I want to buy your house. I can pay you cash for your house, no matter what condition it's in. Do you own an ugly, rundown house that you just want to get rid of?
And later observed in greater detail by the Cassini mission, this hexagon is a cloud pattern approximately 20,000 miles wide, with each side roughly the same length as Earth's diameter. The persistence and symmetry of this structure have puzzled scientists and sparked the imagination of mystics and occultists alike. From a scientific perspective, the hexagon is believed to be a result of atmospheric dynamics unique to Saturn. The planet's rapid rotation, combined with its complex weather patterns, creates a standing wave in the atmosphere, forming the hexagonal shape. Despite this explanation, the hexagon's perfect symmetry and its continuous presence for decades, if not centuries, have led many to believe that there is more to this phenomenon than meets the eye. In the realm of sacred geometry, the hexagon holds profound significance. It is a symbol of harmony, balance, and the underlying order of the universe. The hexagon is found throughout nature, in everything from honeycombs to crystals, and is associated with the number 6, a number that represents creation, structure, and the cosmic order. The hexagon is also linked to the Star of David, a symbol that holds deep religious and cultural significance in Judaism and is connected to the notion of divine protection and unity. The appearance of the hexagon on Saturn has led some to speculate that it is a manifestation of the planet's deeper connection to cosmic laws and sacred geometry. It is seen as a symbol of the hidden order of the universe, a glimpse into the mysterious forces that govern the cosmos. For those who delve into the esoteric, the hexagon on Saturn is not just a weather pattern, it is a sign, a marker of Saturn's role as a keeper of time and a gateway to other dimensions. Saturn's influence on religions and cultures. The influence of Saturn and the symbolism associated with it extends far beyond the ancient myths. Over time, Saturn's symbols have permeated various religious and cultural practices, often in ways that are subtle and hidden in plain sight. One of the most pervasive symbols associated with Saturn is the black cube, a geometric shape that has appeared in religious and esoteric contexts throughout history. In Judaism, the tefillin, small black boxes containing verses from the Torah, are worn on the head and arm during prayer. These boxes are cube-shaped and are seen as a physical manifestation of the spiritual connection between the individual and the divine. The tefillin symbolize the binding of the individual to God's commandments, representing the unity and wholeness of the divine law. In Islam, the most sacred site is the Kaaba in Mecca, a large black cube around which Muslims perform the tawaf, or circumambulation, during the Hajj pilgrimage. The Kaaba is the focal point of Muslim prayer and is considered the house of God. The act of circumambulation, where pilgrims walk around the Kaaba 7 times, is seen by some as a reflection of the orbital patterns of the planets, particularly Saturn, with its prominent rings. This association of Saturn with the black cube and the number 7, found in the 7 rings of Saturn and the 7 circumambulations, suggests a deep, symbolic connection between the physical structure of the Kaaba and the esoteric significance of Saturn. The black cube in this context represents the material world, the physical realm governed by time, space, and the laws of nature, domains traditionally ruled by Saturn. In Christianity, the day of worship, Saturday, is derived from Saturn's day, a day associated with rest, reflection, and the passage of time. The connection between Saturn and the concept of time is also evident in the figure of Father Time, often depicted with a scythe, an attribute of Saturn as the harvester, and the hourglass, a symbol of the inevitable flow of time. The influence of Saturn in religious practices is thus subtle yet profound, weaving through the fabric of various belief systems and shaping their rituals and symbols. The black cube has also appeared in other contexts, such as in the worship of Baal and Moloch, ancient deities associated with Saturn. In these rituals, the black cube symbolizes the material world, the constraints of physical existence, and the inevitable decay that comes with time. It serves as a reminder of the limitations imposed by the physical realm and the need to transcend these boundaries to achieve spiritual liberation. The darker side of Saturn, Saturn's association with death and decay, is not merely symbolic. It has been central to some of the most macabre and controversial practices in human history. The worship of Saturn has often been linked to rituals of sacrifice, particularly human sacrifice, as a way to appease the god and ensure the continuation of the cosmic order. These practices, though abhorrent by modern standards, were seen by ancient civilizations as necessary to maintain the balance of the universe. In ancient Carthage, the worship of the god Baal, identified with Saturn, involved the sacrifice of infants to ensure the prosperity of the city. These children were offered in a gruesome ritual known as the Moloch sacrifice, where they were burned alive in large, hollow statues of the god. The belief was that these sacrifices would bring favor from the gods, ensuring good harvests, fertility, and protection from enemies. This dark aspect of Saturn worship highlights the god's dual nature as both a bringer of life and a harbinger of death. The theme of sacrifice is also present in the myth of Kronos, who devoured his own children to prevent them from overthrowing him. This act of cannibalism is a metaphor for the relentless march of time, which consumes everything in its path. The myth also serves as a warning of the dangers of absolute power and the inevitable consequences of trying to cheat time or fate.
Yes.
Saturn's role as a symbol of control extends beyond these ancient rituals into modern times. In various secret societies and occult traditions, Saturn is seen as the ruler of the material world, the force that governs the physical and temporal realms. This control is not just over time, but over the structures of society, the limitations imposed by physical reality, and the boundaries of human existence. Some conspiracy theories suggest that the elite, those who hold power in modern society, are followers of Saturnian principles, using the symbolism of the black cube and other Saturn-related imagery to assert their control over the masses. These theories propose that the pervasive presence of Saturn's symbols in corporate logos, government buildings, and popular culture is evidence of a hidden agenda, one that seeks to maintain control over humanity by keeping it bound to the material world. While these theories are often dismissed as mere speculation, they reflect a deep-seated fear of the power that Saturn represents, the power of time, decay, and death. Whether or not these theories hold any truth, they serve as a reminder of Saturn's enduring influence on the human psyche and its role as a symbol of the darker aspects of existence. Conclusion: as we conclude this exploration of the cult of Saturn, it is clear that this ancient belief system has left a lasting legacy. From the myths of Kronos to the rituals of Saturnalia, from the hexagon on Saturn's pole to the black cube in religious and esoteric traditions, the symbols of Saturn continue to influence our world in profound ways. Saturn reminds us of the duality of existence, the balance between creation and destruction, life and death, order and chaos. It challenges us to confront the darker aspects of life, to embrace the passage of time, and to seek the deeper truths that lie hidden beneath the surface. The cult of Saturn is not just a relic of the past. It is a living tradition that continues to shape our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Whether we view Saturn as a god, a symbol, or a cosmic enigma, its influence is undeniable. And as we continue to explore the mysteries of the cosmos, Saturn will remain a powerful reminder of the eternal cycles that govern our existence. In the end, the true history of the cult of Saturn is a story of humanity's quest for meaning, a journey that continues to this day. It is a reminder that the answers we seek are often hidden in the most unexpected places, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to look beyond the surface and into the depths of the unknown. If you're fascinated by esoteric knowledge and cosmic mysteries, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing content like this. See you in the next video.
This one I haven't watched yet, but that's coming up next because it's relevant. You see this one, it's called Masonic Boys, and it's got this image of the guy standing over the little boy. It's going to be the next one. So let's see. All right. So there was a lot in that short video. And what does that have to do with Nanabudaku? Let's see if we can write it here. So every time we hear, I'm going to do this while I'm talking, but this is going to end up being a chart of its own. So let's do it like this. Saturn and so what happened was when I started on this deep dive on the 21st about Saturn, you know, I've talked to y'all at length about great grandmother Crone, but it's been very difficult to find like a synchronous relationship to other deities prior to Cronus and Saturn. I started with Kemet and Babylon, Mesopotamia. As a matter of fact, what did I do with those notes? Got notes everywhere. Yeah. All right. So what I started out looking for was, we had talked some time ago, I don't remember how long ago, but we were talking about how we were talking about Gemini twins, what we were talking about, and how in Kemet, the Gemini twins were not two boys. The Gemini twins were two goats, and how in Iran, the two Gemini twins were not people, they were two peacocks. I don't know if y'all remember that or not. But there was a goddess named Benedjet, and she had the head of a goat, two big goat horns. She had the head of a goat. And I kind of started there, and it took me all over the place. But the one thing I liked about that video more than anything else was them talking about the period that I'd mentioned before about Saturn being a black sun, about how there are these stories through different traditions of Saturn having provided the light of the world at one point. That was the first time I heard it put like that, where it was saying that before Saturn was, quote, demoted to a planet, that it was a star, and that our current solar system actually revolved around it. That was the first time I'd heard that. What I had heard was that there was a cataclysmic event in our solar system where Jupiter and Saturn, something happened in their rotation, like an asteroid or something, that knocked them off their current rotation. And this cataclysmic event, this kind of astronomical event, shifted Saturn far enough back and out of the way, like out of the way, that we no longer could get the benefit of the, quote, purple light of the black sun. That was the story that I'd heard. Regardless, what I find interesting about this discussion in this video and some things that happened today was about the golden age and how, even when it talked about, because this video talked about Saturn over and over and over again, obviously as male, as father time. When we were talking about Nanabuduku as a primordial, that was the grandmother to, quote, all Orisha or all the gods. Think about all of the words that it used to describe her, that even though she was, quote, the mistress of death, she was the guardian of the cycles of life and death, reincarnation and disincarnation, right? Like, and then even all of her other attributes, they were not macabre. They were like the nurturer, the healer, the life giver, the this and that and this and that. Everything was very stereotypical of a mother deity, of a mother person, of a mother goddess, right? And so when I opened up by talking about Janus, this ritual that happens every December 31st in honor of Janus, the war god, the two-faced, right? Sometimes the four-faced. As a matter of fact, I automatically thought, let me see if I can show y'all. I automatically thought when I started reading about this cat, I thought about, any of y'all remember the movie Chronicles of Riddick? Damn, that's not gonna let me show it like that. That's kind of crazy. Maybe if I do it like that, let me do it like that. Oh, just what's on the internet? That don't make no sense. Window, maybe. Streaming. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so this. If it's gonna let me do it. Of course not, because that would be too easy. Of course not, because that would be too easy. Bullshit. Ugh. Yeah, that would be too easy. So I don't know if y'all can see that. That's kind of dumb. Okay. Yeah, let's see if I can make it a little bigger. All right, let's see. So you see here how this African image now, this image is actually supposed to be an adaptation of MamiWata, which was supposed to be these divine twins that were 2 in 1. But when I show you the picture of Janice, it's gonna look a lot like that picture. Let's see. So there's one picture here of what's supposed to be Janice. You see that image? Mm-hmm. This is the 4-headed Benedette here with wings in one image, without wings here in the other image, but this is the 4-headed. So sometimes they're shown as this is the goat-headed deity I was talking to you about in Kemet. The Benedette is sometimes viewed as the 4-headed with wings. So these all are images of them. These are some other images I pulled out about the Saturn issue. This image, you can see I saved. I'll stop on it for a minute. This is, you see this image here? I'm not going to blow it up too much, but you see this image here of Kronos carrying away the child. You see that? And so what was the other thing that I talked about that are associated with Saturn? You see where it says the second word is abduction? And in almost every one of these, like these paintings, a lot of these paintings were petitioned by the Pope at the time. Remember, we were talking about the painting that had been my favorite since I was a kid, and I didn't know why, the Francisco Goya piece of Saturn devouring his children. Saturn has these little mangled bodies in his hand. So you'll either see Saturn here, quote, AKA Father Time, with the sickle in his hand, but he's always like, quote, violently carrying away some baby, some child, some like little baby, right? There's so many images of that. This one is called The Rape of the Daughters. This image right here is called, the painting is called The Rape of the Daughters. And this is part of the story about how Rome came to power, how Rome came to be. This other image here is an image that is supposed to be indicative of a willingness to human sacrifice. This is when Abraham is supposed to go up to the mountain and sacrifice I think it's Jacob, and you can see in this image how violent it looks, and then the angel has to come and stop his hand from killing his baby. This image, I don't know if you can see that well, and for whatever reason I can't open them up while I have the YouTube open, but this is supposedly an image of Kronos, but he's surrounded by children. There are several images like that too, right? I might have to end this, y'all. I might have to try again tomorrow. This image here, I started to make the thumbnail because it says Saturn here, but it has 3 quote personifications of Saturn, right? And I think that's all I'll show you off of this one. But the reason I say that is because whenever you look at these images of Kronos or Saturn, even the thumbnail that I used for this, they're always scary images. He's always got this mean kind of scowl on his face. He's carrying children away. He's, treating the babies violently. He's eating the meat off the baby's chest, and like these really gruesome pictures, these gruesome ideas. And when you talk about the quote two-sidedness, because Janus as a deity that we welcomed this season in, and I will say this, Janus as the Saturnian aspect of January, us moving into January, still placing everything within a astrological and interior kind of correlation. Saturn was the old ruler of both Capricorn and Aquarius. Before they discovered the outer planets, the Saturn ruled Saturn ruled 2 signs consecutively. So before I can't remember, but anyway, so Saturn at that time ruled both Capricorn and Aquarius. These two signs that were consecutive, sharing the same planet. The reason that this is significant is because of the mythology that is shared by both these signs. Aquarius is known as Ganymede, right? Like the mythology around Aquarius is that Aquarius was a child. I don't know if y'all remember that, but Aquarius as Ganymede was a child. He was said to be a teenage child minding his own business when Zeus, doing what Zeus do, turned himself into an eagle and quote violently carried Ganymede away. Abduction. Yes, it's superimposed. This story is superimposed on Jupiter, aka Zeus, but the story remains this perpetual. So rape. Oh, there is one more. Rape, abduction, sacrifice, and what we today call pedophilia. But back in Greek and Roman times, it was not called pedophilia. It was called pedestry, right? And that was to communicate what they call, quote, a relationship between an old man and a typically teenager, a young teenager. And it was indicative of a sexual relationship between an old man and a young person, typically a barely pubescent boy child, always between a boy child. And the reason that I say this within the context of Saturn, I'm trying to keep this straight, y'all, because when we read through Nanabudaku is a synchronous icon that we can squarely presume is analogous with great grandmother crone. Now, we have just been saying great grandmother crone because, again, as a primordial, it's been very difficult to find across cultures deities that would correspond with this concept of great grandmother crone. Great grandmother crone having been usurped by her children, disappeared from human collective consciousness, and the Titans and their offspring becoming the primordial or becoming the deities that we recognize most regularly, like in Olympus and shit. So when I was trying to find iconography deities that I could associate with great grandmother crone, and then start reading their attributes, Nanabudaku in particular, how Nanabudaku's attributes are the exact opposite of those attributes of who we have been calling Father Time, the Grim Reaper, Saturn, and all of that stuff. This becomes important to demonstrate the truth of what we've been saying about great grandmother crone all these years, is that it had become difficult to kind of like syncretize them. But the other thing is we think about Father Time, even when you're just talking about astrology, okay? You're just talking about astrology, which is how I got on this whole thing anyway, was being at perpetual odds, at war with my Capricorn Moon placement. Because all I heard astrologically was that Capricorn was about discipline, strict discipline, firm boundaries and borders, institutions and the law, and all of this like burdensome shit that Father Time is the Grim Reaper, and and this is about death, and it was always doomy and gloomy. So even in the video that we just watched, when he says that Saturn was said to have presided over the last golden age, but that golden age was defined by what? That golden age was defined by plenty. It was defined by satisfaction. It was defined by play and long life and love and sex and all of these things that would be indicative of an age, the golden age, where human beings did not have to labor for food. That's what Socrates said about the golden age, was that it was an age where human beings lived very, very old lives. They died in their sleep peacefully, and they didn't have to toil for a place to live. They didn't have to toil for food. Like, life was easy. Does this sound like something that, quote, aka Father Time, would preside over as he is presented to us? Or does this sound like something like a female extreme opposite would preside over? And if this is the case, that what we read and what we hear in all these different cultures about the golden age, about the last golden age, and how prosperous and beautiful and fruit just fell off the trees and everything was so lovely and there was no killing and there was no fighting, does this sound like something that a father god, a old ass father god, would have the capacity to govern, to usher in right? In fact, when the last golden age ended is when they say that that Libra and Estrella, that we now know as Virgo, all hauled ass. All the goddesses ran the fuck up off of Earth because you men started being with that bullshit. So the goddesses was like, nah, we're gonna have to let y'all walk through this lesson on y'all own, and we'll come back when it's safe to come back. And I'm saying, because if we can accept that it was a great-grandmother crown, a non-Buddhical primordial deity, goddess, creatrix, who presided over the last golden age, where this planet was of plenty, and it was beautiful, and it was covered in the purple light of the black sun that we now know as Saturn, and all of this stuff. But just like the story, Saturn devours his children because he is afraid that somebody is going to come back and steal his power. If we know that Saturn is great-grandmother Crone, the story of her devouring her children takes on a whole different meaning. So if this is the case, and we are living in this period of despair, is this period of despair, what I'm saying is this period of despair that we're living under is the evidence of the usurpation, the evidence of the children usurping the mother's power. The story is literally telling us that it's not just, quote, a quote, past story. This is an ever-present story. Quote, Saturn, aka great-grandmother Crone, is still devouring her children, because even though these old ass men always looking to be in power for forever, be doing the dirt that they do, guess what? They too have to be planted in the ground at some time. So even though y'all have usurped her power, that's still the main singular inevitability in this life process, is that your ass still gonna go to the dirt. She's still gonna have her way with you regardless. But like, you look at all these old ass billionaires, and they live to be 100. They live to be 95. This is literally this story as an observatory mythology playing out in real time, with all the characters, with all the telling of the story, all the aggressions. How, quote, Saturn as the evil, mean father time, and he hates children. So it's an interesting concept that they call this shit pedophilia, child love, right? But he hates children, father time, because in every picture, his ass is old and decrepit. And so if he is old and decrepit, he hates youth. He hates youth. He hates the vitality of youth. As a war god, he needs misery to exist. I'm gonna have to pick this up another day. I'm tired. I still have a decision to make. You know what I'm saying? I'll talk to y'all about that later too. I know I was all over the place again, but we're gonna narrow this down soon enough. All right. That being said, I'm Cassandra-Floyd, also known as Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. You can make donations by using EvoEmeTemp at gmail.com. You can use that for Zelle or PayPal. If you want to send a Cashapp, that's $ Daughter of the Fates, Fates, Daughter of the Fates. You can send a Venmo at Cassandra, Cassandra -Floyd, Floyd. You can book a reading with me. Email me to get the details on how to book a reading. You can still, until the end of February, make purchases off my Etsy store, which is Daughter of the Fates, Fates.etsy.com. You can support the GoFundMe that is in the details underneath this video. You can share that GoFundMe. And I will continue this discussion some other day. All right, peace.